Last night's game proved why the Brisbane Lions are the reigning premiers and also why they should be at least the equal premiership favourite going into the back end of this year, because they were just phenomenal. Obviously, all of the pressure was on Carlton. Can they come out and just show a little bit of fight? Give the fans something to look forward to. Let the young kids stand up. Can they respond to all of the scrutiny and the media pressure? People calling for Vossi's head and fans going after their own players and all these sorts of things. Can they stand up and just give the supporters something to lift them up? And I think they did for a large majority of the game. It looked like they really had a crack. But then again, this was the worst possible way to start a game of football when you've already given up a goal and then this happens. Haynes is trying to get the ball into the middle of the ground, which is something that we're all clamouring Carlton to do. Take the game on, be a little bit more aggressive, and as soon as they try and do that, the bloke runs into the umpire. Lockie Cowan is going, give me a spell. The Brisbane Lions pick up the footy. Charlie Cameron goes bang. And that is just the worst possible start you could have. And I could just imagine all of the Carlton fans, as soon as that happening, just pulling their hair out going, what have we done to the footy gods? But to their credit, they came out and I think they had a real crack. Let's have a look at what Carlton did right. The first thing I thought Carlton started to do well, especially in the first quarter, was actually move the ball with a bit of pace and get deep entries inside their forward 50. They actually gave their forwards a chance to compete. And when they can compete, they're pretty good. They're good in the phone box. They're good at the contest. They're good at the clearance stuff. So just this work from Nick Haynes right here, just to give Cripper an option, because if Cripper goes back off his mark, he's not going to get enough penetration on the ball to go really deep inside forward 50. But Carlton give this handball, and all that does is just give you an extra 15 metres on the kick, which means that the ball is landing in a dangerous spot. You know, that 10 metres out from the top of the goal square, it gives your forwards a chance to compete in the air, but then also at ground level. That's great from Fogarty right there. You get a nice handball out to Fantasia, and that's a goal. And that's what we want Carlton to do. And again, all we're asking from Carlton is to show us something. Give us something of a new school, modern style of football, because we just see them be so easy to defend. But when they play like this, and they did it early on, I mean, when does Holland take this kick? When does Hollands take this kick? We haven't seen this kick all year. In between three Brisbane players, we haven't seen them take this sort of risk. And then Doherty, just go to the fat side of the ground. Give your players a chance to compete, because even if the ball comes to ground in this situation, it's aggressive. It's putting the defenders on the back foot. You're actually making them defend hard to defend space. You want to be hard to defend. And then when you win that contest, which we know Carlton can do, we know they can win the contest at ground level, now you're actually able to get really deep entries inside your forward 50 where your forwards are in prime position. So that is the movement. That's the aggressive nature of football that we've all wanted to see Carlton play. So with ball in hand, we could see that there was a clear shift in how they wanted to move the football, but then they were just having a crack in the contest. They weren't allowing Brisbane to get out of the contest really easily, which to be fair has always been a relatively good strength for Carlton. But in recent weeks, we've seen Collingwood carve them up. We've seen North Melbourne carve them up. And we saw Port Adelaide run right around the contest with the Carlton midfield. And then this, just get the ball in muddy situations. Pito, just pull your body weight around the football. Hewitt, just get the ball moving your way. Don't allow them to get the football out here. But then again, we're just playing muddy football. We're just making it hard for Brisbane. And then at certain times, you're going to get free kicks go your way. So at the end of the quarter, you get repeat stoppage, repeat stoppage, repeat stoppage. And you're just constantly putting pressure on Brisbane, pressure on Brisbane, pressure on Brisbane. And then Pitnet gets a free kick. And I mean, it's a heroic effort to get the free kick. But then the talk from 65 out to just go bang at the end of the quarter. But that comes from Carlton's ability to just have a crack. Just put the effort in, put your body on the line, make it muddy, force Brisbane into the phone box, into this contested style of football. Make it hard for them to score against you. And when you do that, you put yourself in position to get free kicks. And I think that's what Carlton fans wanted to see. And I think that's what they saw early on. It was just Carlton having a crack. And we're all for Carlton having a crack. But just so deflating, because the ideas were right last night. So many times last night where Carlton had options to take the game on. And if they just hit the options, they were out and gone. So if Cowan's able to hit Cripps or Doherty in this situation, in the middle of the ground, now you've got runners. You can use these three to get those deep entries inside forward 50. The issue is when you just have skill errors like that, where you miss Cripps and you miss Doherty, somehow you miss both of them. And then straight away, Brisbane off turnover. If you give them a sniff, they will just destroy you as soon as you turn the football over, especially in their front half. And again here, the concept, the structure, the system was actually so right last night in so many opportunities, so many times. Carlton did all of the right thing until just a poor skill error, just a poor turnover, some poor execution, just let them down completely. So in this situation, How many times do we see Cripper just pick this ball up and bomb it on his foot because Carlton don't have any outside runners? But look at the work that he does here to not throw this ball on the boot right now and actually handball to the outside. And when we talk about inside to out, this is what we mean. It's actually able to get the ball out of the contest to Fantasia. And Fantasia, again, he looks up, he's going to throw it on the boot, but again, he goes, I want to take the ball even further outside of the contest so that we can have a kicker who has time to make a good decision and actually have good skill execution going forward. So that's a great handball again, and it's just going from inside of the contest to outside of the contest. But this is where Carlton just fell over themselves all night long, just these poor skill errors. So the reason you get the ball from inside to out is so that you don't have these sort of kicks going inside forward 50, because you should have more time to make a good decision and use the football well going inside forward 50 when you can get the ball from inside to out. And that's where the frustration is, because we can have all the effort in the world, but if you don't have the skill execution, you're just going to let yourself down and you're not going to be able to win. But enough about Carlton. Let's get into what makes Brisbane so good, why they're the reigning premiers, why they've played in the last 2 grand finals, and why they're probably going to play in this year's grand final. If there's one thing we know about the Brisbane Lions, it is that their ball movement is absolutely top tier. It is probably the best in the league because they can do it when they play slow ball and they can do it straight away off turnover. But that comes from how good their forward movement is, but also how good their running halfbacks are and how good Dane Zorko has been. I mean, he is completely reinvented not only his career, but how the halfback position is played across the league. This is a contest on the wing right now, and I just want you to see where Logan Morris is. Look what happens. So firstly, it's really good pressure from Brisbane to force this just errant handball from Mitch McGovern, which again, we're just talking about skill execution right now. But the ball goes straight over George Hewitt's head, and then bang, Brisbane's ability to get the ball from inside to out, and we're going to talk about inside to out so much because it's so important. So Rayner right now is what we call inside the contest. And then his skill execution to nod off Berry right there, to force Fogarty to cover that exit, and then Dane Zorko on the outside where we just see him so often in so much space. And then look at how quickly Logan Morris has beaten all of his defenders back right here. So now pretty much all 3 Brisbane players could take this mark. But we just saw Logan Morris at that stoppage, at that contest, on the wing, and that's what we mean about ball movement. It's not just the people with the ball in hand, it's actually the movement of the players who don't have the ball in hand that makes Brisbane's movement so good. It's why Logan Morris gets so many uncontested marks inside the forward 50. It's because of the movement like that, the movement of the people with the football like Dane Zorko, but then the movement of him to get from that stoppage all the way inside forward 50 as soon as he knew Brisbane were going to win that footy. And it's almost like their uncontested mark game is what we call death by 1,000 cuts, because it doesn't feel like each mark is going to hurt you until it absolutely does, and you realise that they've moved the ball up the field without you even noticing. So bang, we're going to come straight out of fullback right here with Dane Zorko, and we're taking straight away to an uncontested mark with Harris Andrews. So bang, he's got the footy, and every defensive zone wants to push the team out to the boundary line. But the Brisbane Lions are happy to take this kick because it just means they get an extra 50 metres up the field, an extra 50 metres up the field. So again, we've got 2 more uncontested marks, and before you realise it, they're on their back flank already. So we've gone from fullback to back flank like that without you even noticing. And again, they're happy to just take these uncontested marks all the way up the wing because again, now we're on centre wing. Now we're basically in an attacking position, and again, we're just going to get an overlap uncontested mark again. And as soon as they get to this point in their forward half of the ground, so now they've taken uncontested marks all the way out of their D50, all the way from fullback to the forward half of the ground, and now they can attack you. So George Hewitt here is thinking, now I've got to get back because now they can go long inside their forward 50. But again, we're going to see an uncontested mark. So that's almost 6-7 uncontested marks, and now they're through the middle of the ground. It takes 1 handball, and now they get a really deep entry. So before you know it, all those uncontested marks have added up, and now they get a really deep forward 50 entry, some forward pressure, and they get a goal. When we're talking about ball movement, this is what I mean. They can do it in so many ways. They can beat you in the midfield through handball and overlap run, but then they can just smash you in uncontested marks and pretty much just take you all the way up the field, not let you touch the football, and before you realise it, they're deep inside their forward 50, and then it's just a talent game. Started Brisbane's defensive 50 zone right now, and look, so this is the kick that usually opens you up, and Brisbane will take this kick because as soon as Starcevich gets his football, if you don't cover the exits in Archie and Will Ashcroft, they will happily give this handball. So look, he wants to give that handball, and it's that kick that opens up, but then their ability to go from that really quick mode to that really slow mode right now, where they're happy to take these uncontested marks. They're happy to go wide because they know they can always bring it back through the middle of the ground because they create so many options. So as soon as Archie gets his football, Because if you're the defensive team, you're constantly having to cover all of these exits because all of the Brisbane players in this situation are becoming options, becoming targets. Eventually, you're going to find the hole right now, which is this Sorgo situation. So again, they go from their defensive 50 into a position where they can go deep inside their forward 50 before you even know it. And now that brings up my favourite point to talk about with the Brisbane Lions, and that is their just efficiency and their talent and their skill inside their forward 50. Now, the last few weeks, we've seen their tackle pressure down. Last night, it was absolutely up. I mean, poor Matt Carroll got blasted like 2 or 3 times in a row where Charlie Cameron, which just went bang, bang, straight through him because they had so many tacklers, so much pressure inside their forward 50. I mean, there was like, I think it was like 20-something tackles inside their forward 50. So if you allow them to chipmunk their way into that situation, they are going to smash you because they have so much talent forward of the football. And it's not just those forward line players, it's those midfielders pushing into the forward line, especially around these midfield stoppages. Chincotta, this has to be your man. We're inside the forward 50. This is the most dangerous part of the ground. And also, this is the most dangerous man on the field at the moment, is Hugh McCluggage. He is absolutely on a tear right now. So Chincotta, you have to be on him. You have to be watching him around this stoppage. You cannot give him this sort of space because as soon as you give him this sort of space, he is too good, he is too clean below his feet that he's going to pick this ball up, shrug 3 tacklers, and now you're too far behind and bang, they're going to kick a goal. And again, this isn't just about their ground level players inside the forward 50. It's also their midfielders around forward stoppages. And if you allow them to, and I sound like a broken record, but if you allow them to get deep entries, this is the sort of stuff that you have to deal with. They make it so hard for you to get the ball out of their forward 50 because of how good their ground level players are, but also how defensively minded their midfielders are to just put on so much pressure. So Will Ashcroft right now is looking for the football. He thinks he's going to get his hands on it, but as soon as he doesn't, he's not complacent. And look at the work he does just to go bang. So George Hewitt doesn't have a step, and this happened all night. This is where the Brisbane Lions have taken their game to the next level in recent times. And if they can start getting more of these forward half turnovers just from this sort of pressure, then they're going to be almost unstoppable because if they can continue to get forward half turnover after forward half turnover, and you mix that with their just incredible ball use ability and their forward movement, they are going to be an extremely hard team to stop. But thank you for sticking around for another video. Please subscribe if you like these sort of breakdowns. There is a breakdown on pretty much all of the marquee games, and we have some crackers this week. I mean, tonight, Gold Coast, Collingwood, then we have Freo and the Hawks over at Optus, and then we have a cracker at Marvel Stadium with the Bulldogs and the Crows. I mean, these are genuine heavyweights going at each other all weekend. It's a beautiful weekend of footy, and that means there's plenty of breakdowns coming, so stick around. Please subscribe if you like this sort of stuff, and if you do subscribe, leave a comment. Leave a comment. What do you want me to discuss? What teams do you want me to look at? What plays, what styles of play, what matchups are we looking at? We'll see you probably tomorrow after the Collingwood Gold Coast game. Stick around, subscribe. Cheers.